The Berlin-Baghdad Railway commenced construction in the years leading up to the First World War. The Royal Navy had just switched from coal to oil. German Navy follows suit, but they don't have no oil-producing colonies, no place in the sun. Thus begins Drang nach Osten, the drive to the east, spine of which policy is the Berlin-Baghdad Railway. Now, there's already track laid from Berlin to Constantinople, of course. It's called the Orient Express. Germans just have to build the last 900 clicks. It's going to take them clear into Baghdad, but there is huge opposition to this project among the major European powers, the Russians, the French, the Dutch, the Belgians, and the British. We're opposed to this for two main reasons. Firstly, we recognize that we cannot compete with the Germans in engineering terms alone, because we know that passengers will simply not accept the Sarajevo to Basra replacement bus service. Secondly, we know once this is built, ain't nothing to stop a Munich businessman getting out of the Baghdad terminus with a Deutsche Bank checkbook, smashing our cartel. So a phony war begins. Churchill, who is Minister for War and Air, dispatches to the Gulf Sidney Riley, who's described in one leading textbook of the period as, I'm quoting now, probably the most famous spy of the early 20th century. Now, call me naive about international espionage, but if you are the most famous spy, you are the worst. And so it proves. Sidney Riley arrives in the Gulf with J-Lo and Beyonce on either arm. The paparazzi are there, flashbulbs pop. War breaks out because it's a war to defend plucky Belgian neutrality, remember, while the Belgians are pluckily defending Congolese rubber and ivory, the first British regiment to be deployed in the First World War, the Dorset Regiment, goes to Basra, 1914, where it is joined by 51 other British divisions. Now, if you go onto the Dorset Regiment's website, I have way too much free time. Plenty you're gonna read about the 1st Battalion of the Dorsets going to Mons in 1914. Nothing. Not a word about the 2nd Battalion of the Dorsets going to Basra in 1914, and therefore, my friends, I believe we may conclude with some confidence that had Wilfred Owen or Siegfried Sassoon fought by the Tigris or the Euphrates instead of by the Somme, we would never have heard of them. They could have sent truckloads to the front, full of nothing but poets. But if they'd fought in Iraq in the First World War, we would not know of a single man jack them. Why? There could even have been a 1st Special Poets Battalion. But had it fought in Iraq, we would never have known of its existence, although one can't help feeling that the 1st Special Poets Battalion would have been wiped out quite early on in the hostilities.